All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to NCAA 2004 in the Duke Blue Devils Dynasty mode. It's been a while since I've been able to get one out. I missed my recording time last weekend and don't have anything just backlogged. So hope this is going to come out a little bit later, and hopefully I should be able to backlog at least a couple tomorrow. So Wednesdays at least should be on time, and then if I get ahead, I can hopefully get the rest of the videos for the week up as well. But the Duke series I can't really do until I have time to sit down and actually play the game and record them. So that's why these are kind of falling behind a little bit. But either way, we're going to carry on with the season, try to be a little bit more concise with it. So we're coming off of probably our best season. I think it is our best season, just period. For Duke, just in general, in a long time. But at 7-5. We finished with our best season with the program across two coaches. So in the Fred Kirk era, we are finally moving upward here. We already got the contract extension prematurely before our previous contract ended, and it all started with a loss to SMU. But then we went on a 6-win streak tear to get us up to 6-1. We were even ranked at this point, but then a 4-game losing streak to some very beatable teams, including BYU and the Navy. Kind of derailed our season a bit here, but then we picked up a big win against Louisiana Lafayette to at least get a above 500 record for the first time. We even picked up a huge ranked win against Notre Dame, which I think is our only ranked win. It might be our only ranked game, period, since we've been here at Duke. As you can see, our combined opponent record, it's not like we've really had a lot of challenges this year especially. And I thought with the roster that we had and an easy enough schedule, we would be able to squeak out at least 8 or 9 wins and maybe get an at-large bowl bid, but we didn't quite get there. So that's what we're looking at. We also got an offer to go coach at Stanford, a 1-11 Stanford program, which I heavily consider because I think it would be fun to kind of take this coaching thing and just kind of make it like a coaching dynasty, but the whole point was to make this a Duke dynasty. So you guys let me know if you want me to stay at Duke, just period, until I win like a natty and then end this, or until I win a bowl game, then I can leave, or you just want me to leave at the next available opening, let me know, because I think any scenario would be fun in this case. But we put together a roster that I thought could seriously compete this year, and we are losing a lot of important people, like our starting quarterback, our top 2 receivers. So how this team looks next season is going to certainly be pretty interesting. So now I guess we're going to get into our offseason festivities and see exactly what that is going to look like now moving forward, because we're missing a lot of pieces, even some contributors on the defensive side of the ball. We have a lot of depth and a lot of youth at a lot of these positions, but how that develops over the course of the next couple seasons, that's all a big question mark. So looking at our class leaving, and it's our first kind of major leaving class in the last couple of seasons since we've been recruiting very young and replacing all of our talent with freshmen. So losing both of our top 2 quarterbacks here, and Aaron Holman and Andrew Ellison. So Ellison never really got on the field. He had maybe a drive in this season, maybe a drive. He's had much more time in the previous seasons, but we never really used him. And then Aaron Holman coming off of a massive quarterback season, might be one of the best quarterback seasons in Duke history at this point in time. I'm not sure. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it like it's true, but no guarantee that it is. And then, of course, we have Josh Livingston, who's graduating. I mean, you might as well retire because he's not getting drafted. And in this season, the way that we just kind of ran with our running backs, how I set the depth chart, he didn't really have a chance to really get on the field and start as much. He kind of followed that trend. It was like every other year there was a better running back than him. It was just weird. He couldn't really compete for that starting job consistently. So that's kind of how his college career ends. And then, of course, Amari Smalley and Patrick Fleming are top 2 receivers. Amari Smalley took a huge step back in his senior season after a huge jump in his junior season, just because, again, how the receiving depth chart kind of sprayed out here. He didn't really get a ton of opportunities in the field here, but Patrick Fleming still put on a great season here. It's his first season without 1,000 yards. I think Patrick Fleming could be playing on Sundays, could be a great pickup for a certain NFL team, whoever wanted to take the chance on him. Then we're losing both of our top 2 tight ends. Now, we do have depth at the position. I think there's a young tight end who's still close to J.P. Kramer and Justin Golden, who can probably take over the starting job, but still losing 2 mid-70s tight ends is a big loss. It's a big loss to the offense here. We don't have a lot of that rotational depth in our receiving core anymore, even our backfield. So that's the big thing to take away from a lot of these losses here. Losing a left tackle who never really got on the field, and Derek Gary here. Also, J.J. Johnson didn't really do much of anything in this season, or actually he had his best season his senior season. I was expecting the stats to show up on the corner like they do with the receivers, but for some reason they're not. So, but Derek Gary's not a starter at all. But J.J. Johnson, of course, was our starting center. I need to put more respect on his name as he's leaving us now. So we're also losing Kevin Molina, who had a bit of a productive season for us at a 67 overall. You take 49 tackles and 3 sacks along with 2 forced fumbles. That's not terrible. I think that's actually pretty good for a 67 overall. We're losing a lot of that rotational depth that we have in the middle linebacking position as well, which is kind of a rough thing to see here. And then one of our top cornerbacks in Sterling Ball is also leaving the team, but it's not going to be, but again, this is a position that I know we have a ton of depth at, so I'm not super worried about it. We have to worry about a punter, and then Jonathan Sterling, who didn't really get on the field much at all in his time here at Duke. He's also graduating, so we're not losing a ton of starters, losing a lot of depth pieces, of course, but then at the skill positions on offense, that is a big area where we lose a lot of talent. So that's probably going to focus a lot of our recruiting efforts is on the offensive side of the ball, trying to replace a lot of these guys here. I know we have still a lot of young guys in these positions, but we need to replace the mid-70s and even like Holman at an 88, you know what I mean? Like losing that production at quarterback, I don't think we can get an 88 overall quarterback. So we'll see what recruiting brings us, because I don't know if the ability to replace all of this talent at this skill level is an option for us. But we're certainly going to try. So we'll chime back in once we have our full recruiting breakdown. All right, y'all, major development in the recruiting world. This is by far the best recruiting class we've had. I don't know if that will reflect in the national ranking, but I'm feeling pretty high about it, if I can be honest with you. I'm feeling awfully high about it. We got a huge landing in the final week of recruiting here leading into our signing day, so we're just going to reveal it now and look at the signings. And boom, look at this. There's a thing that's been happening in this save I've been doing for Duke that I've never seen in my other saves before of this game, and I've had a lot of prospects where I've tried every single option that it gives you for recruiting, and the prospect wants none of it. They're not interested in any of it. And in fact, I even lost points with this 5-star linebacker when I tried the prestige hook. He was like, he's actually looking at more prestigious schools. So I have no idea why he decided to come here, but he did. I guess this is just like one of the random cases where they just flip at the last second. Except they flipped to our school. I don't understand. But Travis Moultrie has flipped to us. See, look at this. See, I don't know what happened. I guess he doesn't care about anything. He didn't care at all. But he's like a lot more interested, or he's a lot better than what we had thought. So like, he's quicker, he's stronger, he's smarter. Like this guy's gonna be special, man. This is probably the best recruit. I mean, he is the best recruit we've ever had. But I mean, this is gonna be special, man. Travis Moultrie, the 6th-ranked linebacker in the country, decides to come to Duke. So we finally have our first blue chip on the team here. Or no, Aaron Holman was a blue chip, so I guess he's our second blue chip since being here at Duke here, across our multiple coaches, of course. So I think it's Fred Kirk's first blue chip, though. So next we have Carlin Scott, a 4-star quarterback, so I was able to at least replace some of that talent that we lost in Holman here, because you'll see a 3-star a little bit further down the list. But I did get a couple of quarterbacks here that might be solid starting options heading into the season. Probably nowhere close to that 88 overall that we were kind of looking for, but it might be at least in the high 70s or low 80s, which we could probably survive with, I think, for this first season. We might take a year to develop, but I think we'll be all right. Ralph Roundtree, another 4-star defensive end that I got, so our pass rush should still be trending in the right direction here. It's been pretty solid in the last couple of years, and I think it should continue to trend in that direction. Victor Marsh, a 4-star receiver, to try and help replace what we lost in Fleming and Smalley. So hopefully, Victor Marsh can slot in somewhere in this receiving corner. And then we also got Delvin Poole. So I was able to replace a lot of at least the top levels of talent in tight end, receiver, and quarterback from what we lost in graduation. But of course, as you can see, there's not a running back in these top listing here in our prospects. So just bear with me here. So we got another quarterback here, Willie Nixon, a 3-star. He will slot in somewhere, I'm sure. Someone will probably get cut from our quarterback depth chart. And then we have another 3-star tight end, or a 3-star tight end, and Brock Parham. And he should slot in nicely with the guys that we already have on roster. Same with L.C. Hollins, another good receiver here at 3 stars from Winder. I know where Winder is. Another 3-star receiver who should slot in nicely. I also got Ed Williams, a 3-star free safety. I can't, fully say in terms of what we have in terms of starting production where Williams will slot in, but it'll be interesting to see. It'll certainly be interesting to see as we look across it. So here is 3-star running back Donnie McMillan. Again, I don't know in terms of starting capability, but it is a solid solid piece of talent that we were adding into the mix. I even got Jason Hutchins, a 3-star cornerback. Again, I know we have the depth at that position, but I've added more talent to it, more youth to it, more talent. So this could be a redshirt opportunity, or he could even start. He could be good enough to even start, like the second or third guy in the depth chart. So another 3-star receiver. We've completely rebuilt that receiving core. We didn't even necessarily have to, but I added 3 more receivers, so we might have our pick and talent at the receiving option. So passing might be what we really focus on heading into this next season. That might be where we prioritize. So another 2-star tight end. We'll probably get rid of him. He probably won't stick. Same with this 2-star receiver. Probably won't stick here. A 2-star tackle also decided to come, and then I think Jose McClellan was probably the last prospect I was really in on because we needed a fullback, and there weren't hardly any fullbacks that wanted to come here. We had none in the state of North Carolina that were even available. Like, North Carolina did not produce a fullback, and then there was nobody in local, like, our pipeline, like Virginia or South Carolina, that was also willing to come here. And so it ended up just throwing me this guy from Tennessee who wanted to come, and so I ended up getting him. But this 1-star, these 1- and 2-star offensive linemen were just also kind of thrown at me. But outside of it's pretty much it. We didn't really lose on any of the big guys that we wanted. I think there might have been a couple 4-stars that I tried. Let's go to current targets. I don't know where I'm looking here. I think there were a couple 4-stars that maybe I tried. Like, I think Gerard Huff was another quarterback I tried to get. He ended up going to Virginia. I think that might be it. I don't think I was looking at any of these other guys, really. Yeah, none of these other guys. I mean, one of these running backs for sure, like Joe Palmer, I think I probably put some points on. But that's about it. So we've done pretty good in this save with getting the recruits that we're looking for. Oh my God, Toledo is the #1 recruiting class. Oh my God. Oh my God, Fresno State is second? What is North Texas is third? What is happening? Where are the Blue Bloods? Here they are. What? Why is Toledo first? What is happening? This is disgusting. All right, whatever. Rice is 10th, by the way. Hold on, I'm not going to gloss over that. Rice is 10th. Okay. Yeah, dude, this save is falling apart more so than the Bama save did. I mean, geez Louise. I think we were 58th last year, and we're going to be outside of that, looks like. Wow. So I thought this is probably our best class. Dude, we're outside of the top 80. What is this? What is happening? Oh, my God. Did I miss us? Oh, wait, did I miss us? Are you guys yelling at me? Like, dude, you scrolled past. Okay, hold on. Just hold on. Bear with us here. Hold on. Where on earth were we at? Did I skip past it? Were we in, like, the 30s or 40s, and I just, like, overlooked it? Are we here? Are we available? Hello? Oh, we're 29th. There we are. Why didn't you guys yell at me sooner? We're at 29th. So, okay, I thought we had a better class. I was like, dude, this is concerning. Okay, so 29th best class in the country, inside the top 30 here. I think that's pretty good here. We're right along with South Carolina, Arizona State. Some light competition, I guess you could say. Maybe, perhaps. There might be. How does South Carolina ranked 24th to end the year at 8-5? That's disgusting. Anyway, but we're 29th in the country in terms of recruiting class. Again, don't have a ton of recruits. Obviously, TCU and South Carolina in front of us have 22. You know what I mean? So we don't have like a ton of recruits, but we have a lot of good quality recruits in 3 and 4 stars. And of course, we got our blue chip Travis Moultrie at linebacker. So I'm very excited to see what the team is going to look like here as we look forward to training and, you know, of course, making our final cuts for the roster. I'm not sure what the final cuts for the roster are going to look like, but we'll of course, get into that in a second here after all the walk-on process is done, which we're probably going to get a walk-on punter, so we'll tune back in a second. All right, trending result time now. So it looks like Keon McMullen got himself quite a boost here, up to 72 from a 65. It's nice to see. Lenny Jones wants to make a big push for the starting quarterback position here, up to a 78 overall now as a redshirt senior. So we might be seeing him this season as our starting quarterback. Mike McCown, remember I said after looking at our prospects, I wasn't really sure exactly what, in terms of starting production at free safety, looks like, considering our brand new recruit that we brought in. But a 79 overall for Mike McCown, the senior, might kind of settle that argument, or that position battle before it really gets started. So looking across the rest of the roster here, there's some numbers that kind of jump out here, but the overall average, I think, of the rosters are in the mid-70s, like a 74 to 76 is, I think, about where you can expect most of the talent to be at. I think both of our centers, as you can see, are like in the high 60s, mid to high 60s, so we might have a bit of a black hole at center. I mean, we might need to slot in another depth offensive lineman if we have one in the center position just to get some better production there. I'm not entirely sure, but as you can see further down here, we have some more 60s overall and stuff like that here, a lot of freshmen, redshirt freshmen, stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see once we get to the final like depth chart for the roster and see exactly where we land on all these position groups. So I'm going to skip through the cut phase I'll let you know if I make any major cuts, but I'm probably going to just skip through it right to the depth chart. So we're going to get into the cut phase now. All right, I did make a few small cuts, like I cut a couple of receivers who weren't really going to start for us, and maybe some defensive guys who, were juniors and sophomores that didn't have a path to starting either. So I cut a few guys like that here. We were at 57. We need to get to 55, and I got us down to like 53. So I trimmed a little bit of the fat here, maybe a little bit more than we needed, but now we're in the depth chart phase. So the quarterback position did not shape up like I thought it would. Lenny Jones for sure is by and away, far and away the best starter on the roster here, so he's finally going to get a chance to start for us here. In his time here at Duke, he's been a third stringer, has not even seen the field once, so he's finally going to get an opportunity to start here in his 5th season on the team. And then everyone else that we grabbed are all freshmen, man, and they're all like sub 70. So hopefully one of these guys that we grabbed, takes the step in the next season, man. I really hope so, because we might be in a bit of trouble here if we can't replace even Lenny Jones. So we're already down 10 overall points from Aaron Holman last season, and so it's going to be a little bit brutal here. It's probably going to be a little bit difficult heading into the next season, or even heading into this season. So our freshman All-American and junior Hicks is back here at a 79 overall, and he's going to look to take the charge from running here. If again I have the sub thing up a little high, I'm probably going to lower it, because I don't think we have a lot of the rotational pieces that we did last year to kind of play around with it. I'm not really all that interested in trying to kill Magnum and Donnie McMillan a lot at running back. I'll just wait for those guys to kind of grow and develop in their own time. With Magnum, of course, being a sophomore, we probably won't even see him that much unless he can get close to Junior Hicks' spot. Then maybe we'll go back to subbing in and out a lot, but for now, we'll probably just give Junior Hicks a majority of the touches. Wallace Christensen is going to be our starting fullback as a sophomore. Trenton Cross is now our top receiver to 74. Victor Marsh, who we just brought in, is up to a 72 with 93 speed, which I do like. So I think we still have at least a decent 1 and 2 option. I think Smalley and Fleming were like 76 and 75, so this isn't like a huge drop off from that. Sidney Peterson up to 70 as a junior, but outside of that, it's just kind of a drop off. But all these guys are young, so in a couple seasons, I think this back end of our receiving core is going to be really good. So future outlook is pretty decent, but right now things are kind of rough. This is definitely a transitional year, I think, for this team. Delvin Poole's our starting tight end as a junior up at a 74, but we obviously have the depth there. He's also 80 speed as a tight end. That's ridiculous, dude. That dude's basically another receiver out there. I mean, that's crazy. So we like to see that. At left tackler, we have Oliver Duncan, a senior, up to 73 here. Depth not looking good behind him, so left tackle might be a bit of a question mark after the season. Eric Barnes, a senior, up to a 73. You might be putting in Hobson, depending on what Hobson's alternatives look like for him. But again, left guard is also just kind of a question mark right now. So the left side of our offensive line is just not strong right now, and in the short term, it's not looking even better. Center is another questionable position here, where we have Craig Ballard as a junior, redshirt junior, up to a 68. That's really kind of the best we have. Offensive line's looking really rough this year, guys. Marquise Hatcher, up to a 75 at right guard. And so, Hobson, that's his primary position, and it's kind of a drop-off. So we will probably look to find a spot for Hobson somewhere. I think it's not like a huge jump to put him in at left guard, so I don't know if that's worth putting him in. He might be good as a backup behind Marquise Hatcher, so we might just leave that the way that it is. And he can't really play at right tackle either. So, I don't know. I don't think it makes a huge difference to put him in somewhere. He might be a lot better than I think. I don't know. Has he even started? He hasn't really started much at all. And in the limited snaps he has seen, he's not done very well. And then Barnes wasn't very good last year either. So I think it's kind of a crapshoot, really. You could just take a chance on it. I don't really think it's going to make a huge world of a difference in protecting our quarterback. So, but Bruce Sanders, the sophomore up to 75, is the best player on our offensive line, which is probably the worst unit on the team, honestly, guys. It's probably the worst unit. Not a good look. Evan Christensen, our left end, is up to a 79 as a junior, and we also have Roundtree behind him as a freshman who we just brought in, so we are looking good on the left side of our defensive line here. The right side's a little bit different. Rex Bacon, the senior, as 70. I'm probably going to put Roundtree in and start him, even though that Bacon's a senior. I hate to bench a senior, but Ralph Roundtree is considerably better than he is as a freshman right now, so I want that pass rush to be good. Since our offensive line's not going to be great, we at least have to win on the other side of the line of scrimmage if we're not going to win on the offensive side. So on the defensive tackle situation, Anthony Westgate up to a 77 as a senior, and Wes McLean not far behind as a junior at 76, and then of course we have the depth behind. So we are looking good there. In the next couple of seasons we should be all right. I think we should be at least decent all right there. So Might need to add one or two more pieces after this season, but first, right now, entering the season, we're looking good. Linebacker situation is going to have to be figured out. Jack Middleton, as a freshman, is not going to work. As a redshirt freshman, is not going to work. So we'll look at the rest of it and see what's going on here. So Chucky Gordon, again, definitely has to start here in the middle. And it looks like McMullen is actually stronger as an outside linebacker, so that's probably definitely where he is going to start. So we'll make that swap right now and put McMullen starting on the left side, Chucky Gordon starting up the middle, and then Travis Moultrie, of course, our brand new freshman, is going to be starting on the right side. So we have a couple freshmen starting this year. Interesting thing to note here. So the team's going to be a little bit younger this year than maybe we anticipated after last season. Darryl Stewart is senior up to an 81. Then we have Joe Bentley, of course, the other senior behind him. So this is kind of like the receiving situation last season where our top two guys are leaving. So we're going to be losing our top two DBs, which is why I wanted to recruit another one this season so that they'll hopefully at least be close to where Derek Maddox is next year. So Jeremy Rhodes, also a 74 as a redshirt freshman. Miguel Stan up to a 72 is a backup strong safety. And then it looks like our other freshman who I brought in is not even listed. So he's not even on the depth chart to start the year. Mike McCown up to a 79, but then Ed Williams, our freshman we brought in, up to a 73. So after Mike McCown's gone, it looks like it's going to be the Ed Williams show for the rest of his time here in Duke, which is good. So I'm happy to bring him in now. Michael Newton, our starting at strong safety, up to a 76, and then Stanton, of course, who was listed in the cornerback depth chart as 71 as a sophomore sitting behind him. So he will obviously be taking the torch after Newton graduates, most likely, I can imagine, unless we get a huge blue chip at strong safety, which I don't think is going to happen. So, and then Richie Johnson, of course, our kicker, coming back only up to a 60, and then our walk-on punter is a 61 overall, and Travis Hooper. So, kicking situation not great. Hopefully we can just get in the end zone and not have to rely too much on kicking the football. So, that leaves the big question as we enter into the next season with our auto schedule generating. What kind of schedule should we have? I do think this team is a little bit transitional. I think our defense is going to be a little bit better than our offense is going to be, primarily just because of the question marks on the offensive line. So I don't know if we're ready to really go into like full-scale competition. I told you guys that whole thing about competing with the talent at our level, you know what I mean? Like being better than the bad teams definitively and being able to compete with like the mid-range teams. And I still think that's kind of, going to be something that's in flux this season. So looking at the schedule is going to be interesting. So they're having us play Maryland, South Carolina, Arizona State, and Miami. Geez, 4 ranked opponents on the schedule to start the year. Probably not going to stick here. Arizona, Hawaii, Buffalo, San Diego. Okay, I'll do what I always do, and I'll just cut back in. We have 2 in-state rivalry games here with Eastern Carolina and Wake Forest, so those will probably definitely stay. I'm going to keep Troy State and probably put Navy back in to keep the independent rivalries going here, and then see if there's some other kind of easier games I can give us here. So give me a second, and I'll chime back in. Okay, so after fumbling around with it, I took off a lot of the ranked matchups. I left South Carolina on here just to keep, kind of the Carolina rivalry thing. Maybe try and keep that going. It should be fun here. They're 22nd. Remember, they were 8-5, and they finished ranked last season. But most of these teams on the schedule right now are at least within our range in terms of talent-wise. So, a lot of them, look at Arizona. Arizona's not a good example. Indiana's a better one. So, most of the teams on the schedule right now are within at least 10 or so spots of us, like Indiana at 63, you know what I mean? They're all at least within that range. San Diego State only at 78, you know what I mean? So it's all pretty on par. There's only a couple outliers that are really bad, like Navy. I think it's literally 112. Navy's really bad. And then, of course, Arizona's 107. So, we have some pretty bad, and they're on a 12-game losing streak. I don't know if that means they went 0-12 last year. I didn't really check. I forgot to record that. Dang. That sucks. I forgot to record the number. So we're going to have a bit of a year of I guess just, I don't know. It's going to be a year of just no stats. So I guess I'm missing that. But anyway, it should be okay. Either way, I think it's a decent enough schedule here. There's a lot of winnable games on it. So we're gonna check with the coaching strategy before we run this thing and see exactly what we can do. So so I have the sub up more. I'm going to sub less here. We're going to focus more on the passing. I kind of want to keep us still pretty aggressive on offense, because I think that aggressiveness will help us a lot here. But we're also probably not going to sub as much on defense. I kind of just want to let the guys who we have just kind of do their thing. So that's how we're going to run it here. That's how we're going to run the coaching strategy. So now I'm going to save, and then we are going to run the sim, and I will chime back in once we have our results. All right, guys, we're chiming back in now here at the end of the season with our Heisman results. Obviously, running back from Virginia Tech wins it, as if there's any shadow of a doubt that someone from Virginia Tech would grab the Heisman Trophy this season. But there's a shocking revelation to make about this team, guys, and we might be mid. We might be mid. We certainly might be mid. So things were, looking at the schedule here, our whole schedule in general, look at the combined opponents record, it's about the same, about 500. And I think we lost a lot of games that we were supposed to lose and won games that we were supposed to win. The only game that I think we lost that we probably should have won is this Indiana game. Like, that's a bad loss to take. But even then, we're talking about a 7-5 team at the best, at the high end, which, is as good as last year, but still not great. So, but again, I talked about this team being transitional, so I guess being within a game of last season is good, especially not having a losing record. So I guess we'll take it. That's why I'm not really going to bark about it. But 6-6, still probably not going to get it. It isn't going to get it done. We didn't get a bowl bid. Yeah, we're still looking for it, man. In like 7 seasons of doing this, we're still looking for that bowl bid. So we picked up a big win against Arizona, who had another horrendous season here. Picked up a big win against Hawaii on the road, too. It's a huge road trip against a good Hawaii squad that we managed to beat, who I think is going to make it to a bowl game. And then Indiana, we lose that game, like I said. South Carolina blows us out here. They didn't have a great season, but we were just a huge win for them. You know what I mean? Just like a big win to pick up on the schedule here to get them over 500. Kind of a defensive just squabble here with San Diego State, but we do manage to pick up the win against another bad squad. New Mexico completely just embarrasses us. This is a game that I thought we would, do really well in, and we ended up getting embarrassed by New Mexico, who ends up finishing a game better than we do. Same with ECU, an absolute shootout with the Pirates, but they end up on the winning end of it. We have a huge showing offensively and defensively against Navy, a bad Navy team, and pick up another win, but then lose by 11 to Boston College. Another game you could probably argue we should have won here, since they're 6-6. But I'm not super upset about it, I think. Where did they finish ranked? 46? Yeah, dude. The evaluation on Boston College is definitely a lot higher than ours is. So another kind of big defensive showing here against Rutgers, a good Rutgers team. So this is actually a solid win here. So you replace the Indiana loss with this Rutgers win, and it's about the same, So 6-6 was probably always going to be the path for this team. Another very defensive, low-scoring game here with Troy State, who actually was also pretty good. So we pick up 2 big wins against some solid 8-win programs. So these are 2 really good wins. Those easily could have been losses. We could be looking at a 4-8 season, dude, like easily. And then we get blown out by Wake Forest, of course, because they have themselves another good season here, finishing 8-4, ranked in the top 25. So it was a tough season, man, tough schedule. We definitely had some games that, you could argue either way against, but I think 6-6 is probably like a really comfortable spot for this team to be in. I don't think that's too bad. I don't think that's, very good. I think we maybe could have reached higher. I don't know, man. There's units on the team that I think are solid right now, but I don't think the consistency's there. Like, I think the skill position, we got it, but quarterback took a huge step back this year, and that probably really affected us in a lot of these games that we got blown out in. Running back, I think, is okay, but receiving core is really consistent, but offensive line's not that great. And oh my goodness, guys, we have another job opportunity. We have another job opportunity. God, I want to take this so bad. I really do want to take this so bad. This would be a lateral move, though, as we would go to a conference at least. But in Conference USA, the Cincinnati Bearcats want us to take over after a 6-7 season. It looks like they probably lost their bowl game. That was their 7th loss, going 4-4 in conference. Not really going to do it in Conference USA, even, especially around this time. I like this job offer, but I think I'm probably going to decline it. I think we at least probably need to win a bowl game before I just up and leave. So, but as you can see, they got some solid defensive players on that roster. Like, 2 of them are seniors, so they're probably going to leave once we take that job. But they want us to win the conference and at least be 3 stars. So that's actually a pretty easy job to take in Cincinnati. I think that'd actually be a really easy job to turn them into a contender, especially with 3-star prestige. But we're going to decline that offer, and we're going to stick with Duke here at least until we can get to a bowl game. Depending on what you guys comment that you want me to do, to take a new job just after one of these seasons. You want me to win a bowl and then leave, or win a natty and then leave, or end the series. I'll leave it up to you guys, because, again, my original plan was just win a natty and get on out of here, but we will now look at the weekly schedule and see who won the national championship here. Rice, dude. They were 10th in recruiting. They finished 9-4. Where did Toledo finish? Toledo. 10-4. Number 1 recruiting class. They finished 10-4, and they win the Motor City Bowl, so good for them. I think that means that they won the MAC, correct? Did they win the MAC? Hold on. Gotta scroll back. Yes, they did. They did win the MAC. They definitely did win the MAC. It can't be surprised that they won the MAC. So, all right, who won the national championship now? Let's get the real numbers here. So Virginia Tech grabs, I think they're third. They went back to back. Oregon won it last year, and then they're back and they win it again. So 3 and 4 seasons for Virginia Tech, and they beat the Ohio State Buckeyes by a touchdown. So the Buckeyes are still looking for one as well here. So my Buckeyes are looking for one. And then Colorado State finishes a perfect 13-0, ranked number 2 in the country to finish the season, winning the Orange Bowl. So, hey, maybe Colorado State's going to argue for a claimed national title. Remember, we had Northern Illinois finish a perfect 14-0, winning the MAC and winning their bowl game. They didn't win the national title. They didn't even get to play for it. So maybe they're going to they're going to fight for one as well. So now we're going to look at our stats here. Ooh, not great here. So it looks like we had 2 quarterbacks take a lot of snaps this season here. A significant injury to Lenny Jones. Yeah, Lenny Jones looks like didn't even play a majority of the season here. So Lenny Jones was heading into the season supposed to be the starter. He only throws for a little over 500 yards and just 1 touchdown to 2 picks. So looks like Lenny Jones suffered a pretty significant injury at the start of the season that sidelined him for most of it. Willie Nixon ends up getting a majority of the reps, it looks like, throwing for over 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 11 picks. But he was a 69 overall, so we can't be super shocked about that. And then Carlin Scott also got on the field a little bit here. He at least was even, 4 touchdowns and 4 picks with over 1,100 yards. But in general, the passing game was just not working so far. I mean, that's a combined, 13 passing touchdowns, and I guess if you want to count Sidney Peterson, so our receiver got in. So every quarterback got injured here, man. It was just, and that's what we were anticipating with the bad offensive line, was that protecting the quarterback would be an issue. So can I see their sacks? Yeah, look at this, man. Look at this. Goodness gracious. I can't do that quick math off the top of my head. What was this, 31, 42, 43? Is that correct, dude? 43 sacks allowed? So, yeah, these guys were getting killed back there. So, can't be super shocked, but that definitely derailed their season a bit. Maybe a full season of Lenny Jones. It's a big what if. It's going to be a big what if moving forward. Junior Hicks here, 900 yards, trying to get up a little bit where he was last year. He definitely gets more yardage. Average about the same here, just 2 more touches and gets less touchdowns. So, not as cool, but, we'll certainly take it. And then Akil Magnum gets on the field for a little bit too as well here. In receiving, Trenton Cross here is leading the charge with 894 yards and 5 touchdowns. A similar season to what he had last year. Yardage is up a little bit more. Average is up a little bit more per catch. So that's a good thing to see here. Did it in a few less receptions as well. So a lot more efficient in this season. And then Delvin Puller, tight end, is our second leading receiver. So just a weird season all around, man. Just a weird season all around. And Victor Marsh, the freshman, also had himself a good season. But then after that, it's a steep fall off, man. Not much happening. Passing the football here. Blocking, man. A lot of sacks allowed around, man. A lot of sacks allowed around the offensive line, man. Not great. So it doesn't look like, so Bruce Sanders, obviously, who I think, is our best tackle on the right side, he has the best season, but still allows 9 sacks. I mean, that's the number for everyone here, but just a bad season here. But Dan Hobson, dude, and Dan Hobson gets on the field and ends up having a pretty decent year at 11 pancakes to 1 sack. So he's definitely fighting for that starting role. So we were doubting, but he definitely fought for it. Defensively, so Cale McMullen, another great season, dude. This guy is just something special. So he's back to where he was in his freshman season, 9 sacks again. He even got a defensive touchdown, so that's cool. With 17 TFLs, leading the team, obviously, and leading the team in tackles as well. So he was everywhere. He was the best defensive player that we had. But, of course, Travis Moultrie, our new blue chip on the defense here, 88 tackles with 14 TFLs and 6 sacks himself and 2 picks. So he was definitely as disruptive as she could possibly be as well. So we are cool with that. Chucky Gordon, 81 tackles himself. So we got 3 guys over 80 tackles. I like to see that, dude. Love to see it. So the sack leading numbers here are 9 for sure. But we got 2 7-sack guys as well. Wes McLean, obviously, getting in there, and then Chucky Gordon, of course, and then interceptions is going to be led by Darryl Stewart, our top cornerback, with 5, and, of course, our cornerbacks behind him, with a few more themselves. Kicking-wise, 64% for Richie Johnson. It's a lot better than he was in his freshman year, but still not really all that good. Made a 50-yarder somehow. I don't know how, but he somehow made a 50-yarder. So now we'll look at the stat rankings. I think this is probably where we're going to see a huge fall off. Yeah, dude, look at this. Is bad, man. So yards per game, we were 60th. Passing yards per game, we were actually up pretty high, but I think passing TDs, 85th. So just not really doing much with it. Just getting a lot of yards, not really doing a whole lot with it. Rushing yards per game was also really bad, so we didn't even run the football that well. Got to fix the O-line, dude. This is all O-line stuff. Just have to fix the offensive line, and I think our offense just functions a lot better. We had a lot of low-scoring games. Just, yeah, dude, could not protect the quarterback. Look at this. Awful in the red zone. Just not great at all. 108th. Yeah, offense took a huge step back this season. Defense was really good, though. Defense is really solid. We got in, dude. We got in. We got some penetration. So I did say that, remember when I was talking a little bit earlier in the video, like, we got to at least win on the defensive side of the line of scrimmage. And we did. We certainly did. We were causing a lot of penetration, a lot of disruption up front, which is really good for this defense, man. So really good defensive numbers all around. Did not generate a lot of fumbles, which is weird. I guess we'll stick with that here. Percentage. We were 27th in the country in red zone, defensive red zone percentage. I like that. I like it a lot. So defense was good. Offense was bad. That's kind of it. Yeah, obviously efficiency is not going to be great either. We were terrible on third down. We were terrible in the red zone. So, I'm not shocked really on any of this at all. So, in turnovers, we threw a lot of picks, clearly threw a lot of picks. Gave up 89th in giveaways, not great at all. And then we didn't get a lot in takeaways either here, but our takeaways is better than the differential overall. So we turned over a lot here, but we also did get quite a bit of turnovers ourselves. So I just didn't really, create a net positive. As you can see, we're at -1. So, but yeah, that's how the team stacks up statistically. Running through that here, trying to get out of here and save you guys some time. I guess we'll look at the coaching report card again. That's what we'll focus on as we leave here, because we should still be 500, and we are. Look at this. It's just hilarious, man. Look at this. Our job security is still A+. So Duke is still very much happy with what we have done, even though we are 24-24. We have 2 losses now to top 25. It is what it is. So, but hopefully in the next video, we can maybe improve a little bit. I don't know. I'm not really sure what the ceiling is here. I think the short-term future is still really good for the team. We have some position groups that, again, are still looking good and looking young, and they should get better in the next couple of seasons. But there's a lot of work to do offensively still, especially with the offensive line. So I don't know if we'll be able to rebuild that in an offseason, or if the guys who are still on the roster will just take a step forward and just be better next season. I don't know. It could just be a waiting game, just wait for the team to kind of take that natural step on its own, that natural progression. We might need to still supplement it with a lot of talent. So we'll see what recruiting gives us, but that's going to do it for this season here. A little bit longer. I always say I want to keep them shorter, and they end up bleeding longer. But thank you guys for bearing with me here and being a little bit patient as I'm more sporadic with uploads. I am in college. I don't think I mentioned that. I'm back in school. And I'm freshly married, as I mentioned, a couple weeks ago when I got married. So life is busy. That's all I'm saying here. So unfortunately, the channel sometimes has to take a backseat to some other things in life, but it's still a hobby that I enjoy, and I'm not going to stop anytime soon. So even if it takes a couple days longer, I appreciate you guys for sticking around and watching and supporting. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys in the next Duke episode. And again, let me know what you guys want me to do coaching-wise, if you want Fred Kirk to stick with Duke until we get the job done, or if we should just jump ship the first second we have a decent season. You guys let me know, but I will see you guys in the next Duke episode.